Hey there, comic book friends. I'm Travis. It's new comic book day. Yay! Or at least new comic book day for me. These are comics from August 22nd, 2018. First, though, I am going to talk about the books from last week that I read that normally I would talk on Comic Book Roundtable. I was going to do Comic Book Roundtable last night. It was going to just be me on. But I was really tired. A week of 10 and 11-hour days was wearing on me, and so I just decided to hang out with my family and read some of the comics. Actually, I can get them all read the rest of the comics. So I figured I would talk about them now briefly if you're interested. In no particular order. So I'm just going to talk about what I feel like talking about and skip the stuff I don't want to talk about. So I finally got my copy of the New World, issue number 1. Alice Cott, Trad Moore book. This is an oversized. It was $4.99, but it's super, super thick, and probably I want to say this is the most accessible and generally all-purpose, reader-friendly book I think I've ever read by Alice Cott. And I really liked it. I mean, I liked it a lot. It was, the art in it from Trad Moore was amazing. Heather Moore, I'm assuming wife, sister, whatever, did the colors on it, and it is amazing. So basically, story is that in 2037, 5 simultaneous nuclear explosions happen in the United States across its major populations. It basically, nobody claims responsibility, no world powers, no terrorists, no nothing. So who knows as far as that goes. And then largely America gets split off into separate states. And this seems to focus mostly on New California. And it's about a cop, our cop here, this policewoman. She, the police are followed around with cameras, and it's basically a live broadcast show as these special police bounty hunters go at, and it's like sport also, go after particular criminals that have been picked out for them. They have drones and cameras flying around. They capture said bad guy, and then the viewing audience can pick whether or not to arrest the person and send them off to trial or erase them on the spot. Like I said, it's sport. I mean, here's an ad for Sports Illustrated. Top cop. Yeah, doesn't want the #1 spot. So Stella Mars is this woman, and she's number 2 because she won't kill anybody. She does not kill anyone at all. Doesn't matter what the audience votes. She does not take them out. And the #1 guy, this dude right here, of course, he's the #1 guy because, well, he'll blow people in half. Our policeman on the cover here, she is the granddaughter of the president of California. There's some anarchical behavior in here. There's this guy, Kirby, who is basically kind of sticking it to the man, doesn't like the government. And in a wayward way, the two of them meet, and towards the end of the book at a rave, they get it on, are both real happy afterwards, and then they find out that they both land on the opposite side of this kind of war and politics and whatnot. So, but like I said, I really enjoyed the art in it. Is amazing. I love the coloring in it. Is really, really sharp and really cool. Well worth the money because, like I said, it's super thick for the extra $1 that you're paying for it. In this case, the rest of the issues will be normal sized and normal priced. But yeah, I really, really liked it a lot. But like I said, very simple for Cott. He usually writes something that's pretty heavy, has some deep buried political twist to it, possibly, or some social commentary. I mean, this one has it, but it's not buried. It's right there up front. Like I said, it's very consumable. So Well, like I said, really liked it. The art just makes it stellar. Economy of words, so a lot of it's in the artist. There's a backup story in the back of this that has nothing to do with what's going on inside. It's basically just wanting to give new creators a place where they can put up a piece of work that maybe no one would see otherwise. Here, people get to see it. I really liked it quite a bit. It has to do with ghosts and televisions and stuff like that. And I don't know, I just really enjoyed the heck out of it too. Was a really interesting thing in it. But yeah, so definitely recommended. If you haven't found a copy, it was cool. It was really neat looking and whatnot. Let's see what else to talk about. Mike's in the comments. Sergeant America, how's it going, sir? Won't talk about Stellar. I kind of halfway read it, just not enjoying it. Oh, so the wind down of some of the Young Animal books. Kate Carson has a Interstellar Eye. You know, I don't know. It comes to an end. Great art. Like I said, like I've been saying about all these books, and I'm tired of saying it. I guess it just feels like that the after the Milk Wars and after a couple issues in, this all felt like I got the plug pulled on it, that it wasn't a planned thing, or it felt very aimless to get to that end. So, boo. Wicked and Divine. This is what we're issue 38. We're rolling to the end of this arc. I think we have a out of time special with Ryan Kelly on art that'll come up, and then we have the last arc coming. I don't know that tons happened in this issue. Just more of the little stuff that we as a reader knew. Now everybody else in the book is starting to know. Really good stuff, really interesting. Just really intrigued to see this other thing gets done. I'll go back and read the whole thing all together because I know there's little nuance that I am missing. So, yeah, but definitely very enjoyable. Batgirl issue 25, oversized, overpriced book. Is all right. Kind of largely run of the mill superhero book. It does have a Paul Dini story in the back of it. That was kind of interesting. Just that it had a Paul Dini story in it. But all the other stories, like 3 stories in here. One of them will be continued in issue 26 of Batgirl. But all the stories are written by Scott, who is Margaret Scott, I think is her name. And she is the new writer on Batgirl. I believe she's going to be the ongoing. Yeah. The new ongoing. I was not really excited by the art in it. There's some good emotional kind of stuff in here. It looks like they're rekindling to some degree the Babs and Dick relationship. Not that they're dating, but it's always kind of there, and I'm fine with that. They kind of address that in a sense. So that they aren't really something, but they aren't not something either. So, yeah. I don't know. Like I said, I've been enjoying Batgirl. We'll kind of see what the new writer has to say. But we'll see. We'll see how much longer I get Batgirl. I like the last writer. I like the vision that they had. We'll see where this one goes and whatnot. Another book I'm really enjoying, The Weatherman. Issue number 3. This issue was largely a action sequence chase scene, and shows us a few more of the power players in the larger picture of this, people who are wanting the Weatherman, where the equivalent of the Mars government lands in this whole thing, and that sort of stuff. Still really like the dynamic art by Nathan Fox, great colors by Dave Stewart. Just lots of fun. Just a really fun book. Really enjoying it. Book that's just kooky with kooky art, and that's why I like it, is Proxima Centauri by Farrell Darple, or however the heck you say his name. It's just got lots of great images in it, whatnot, and just kind of a randomy story about a dude who's on a planet and bored and wanting to do something. So, but I'm really digging it. Good stuff. Justice League issue number 6 continues to be the Justice League. I don't know that it's anything really deep, but I continue to enjoy it for the kind of 4-color superhero team type book. What's you're seeing on here really doesn't exist inside, of course, as per usual for superhero comic book covers. But yeah, I mean, I'm having fun with the Justice League. There's nothing deep. It's just kind of there, and I'm all for it for that. Oh, another book I really enjoyed. This is Ice Cream Man issue number 6? What was I say? Yeah, 6. So this issue is Neapolitan. So you get our 3 Neapolitan colors there, even though the vanilla doesn't look very vanilla. This is another book where the coloring makes a huge difference in the way the book plays out. Our usual artists on it, Morazzo's on the art, colors by O'Halloran. So it starts out the kid coming up to the Ice Cream Man, and he wants, trying to decide what he wants to do, and he orders the 3 scoops, and the Ice Cream Man's like, 3 scoops, great. And he gets the 3 scoops, and it's the Neapolitan. So he's walking along, eating his ice cream, right? Everything seems normal. And then this page, we get the starting of the Neapolitan-ish colors. White really isn't white, though. It's more of a yellow, but you get the red, a yellow, and a brown. And then the rest of the book reads in Neapolitan colors across the page. There's a stripe. And it's basically, I believe, I can't remember what this one's called. Strange Neapolitan is what it's called. It's basically the kind of the concept of multiple realities, that every time you make a choice, at least this is how I see it. Every time you make a choice in life, there's a separation of realities, because one version of you made this choice and one version of you made that choice. And so the whole book is written that way. The kind of, I don't know, the red, the strawberry, he meets a girl, falls in love. The middle one, he comes across a hurt dog that he rescues. And the bottom one, he has bugs in his ice cream, kind of a thing. So the top story is, like I said, bumping into a girl, falling in love, having a baby, something bad happens to that child, and where his life ends up going with it. The middle one, he rescues this dog, nurtures the dog back to health, and then he finds a poster of somebody saying, "I lost my dog," and he decides to keep the dog, and he goes off into the mountains, lives the rest of his life, off being a mountain man guy, and lives happily ever after with him and his dog getting old together. And then the bottom one is just totally, it's very Ice Cream Man. It's Cuckoos for Cocoa Puffs. The guy has the awful ice cream, throws the ice cream away. His egg hatches some weird bird out. He tries giving the weird bird away. He gets abducted by a guy in a bird suit who tortures him, and a bird hatches out of his chest. It's just completely nuts, and was great. But I like it. I liked it for that. And then, of course, your final page is the Neapolitan stuff again. I don't know. I just really dug the story. I've really been enjoying Ice Cream Man. Like I said, it's kind of an Outer Limitsy kind of thing, with Ice Cream Man is the only running, this guy is the only kind of running thing in through the book. Occasionally you'll see reoccurring faces, but otherwise it's just stories in and of its own. And I really like it for that. I like it, the one and done, kind of a story, and they're just kind of weird, goofy-ish things. So good stuff there. It was a good week of comics, really. So the Gravediggers Union, this is the final issue number 9. It ends with this one. Continue to love the Toby Cypress art, the Gerard art, colors on it continues to be stellar. I just really love the look of the book and whatnot. It is now done. They, fight back the apocalypse, and Cole talks his daughter off the edge from killing the space monkey, even though the Dark Ones are talking to her. Love this sequence. Just really, really good. Really great stuff. And then it has kind of a twisted ending that, there's the apocalypse happening. A twisted ending that is just pretty cool. I really like that ending. I was not prepared for that ending. Did not expect that to go the way it did, and I really liked it. But still, just really great stuff. Continue to be, if Toby, whatever Toby Cypress just choosing to do art on, I will be choosing to buy. I just really like his style. It's just its own thing, and it's really cool. Wildstorm, I continue to enjoy this. It feels like it's slow moving, so I'm hoping at some point this guy going around to the ex-secret agents that are all in hiding with their alien tech in them, all really intriguing characters. But I hope this all pays in some sense or another. And the other thing that happens in here is Jenny Spark comes across our woman who has stolen the alien technology to make the robot suit inside of her. So they've kind of hooked up to some degree. And she is now learning how to use a gun from the Wildcat guy. So hopefully that means that things are moving forward. I really enjoy it, but I'm just concerned we're on issue 16. That means we have what? 8 issues left and the book is done. If it really is ending at issue 24. So I just don't know how this all kind of wraps up and what becomes of it. Or is it not going to wrap up and it's just going to leave this world out there that then DC can play with the Wildstorm universe however they choose to, moving forward. I don't know. I would suspect at some point, are we going to see some more Warren Ellis curated Wildstorm stuff? Because I thought there was supposed to be more. The Michael Cray thing was starting, but I thought they were talking like there was going to be 1 or 2 more books that spun out of Wildstorm. So I'm curious to see when those potentially land, or if that's not going to happen now. It doesn't have the energy that it did when it first started out, because of course Warren Ellis said, I don't want to launch all this stuff at once. I want one thing to roll for a while before the next thing comes out. It was 6 months before we saw the Michael Cray stuff hit. I kind of expected something at issue 12 of the 24. So maybe at 18, issue 18, we might see something else again, because then the Michael Cray thing will be done. So I don't know. Anyway. Oh, Batman issue number 53. I am absolutely loving this storyline. Bruce Wayne basically has jury duty, and he is having a conversation with the jurors about whether or not Mr. Freeze is guilty or not. And really the conversation is about Batman, and is Batman infallible or not? Is he a god or not? In this issue, we reconfirm that Batman, basically Bruce Wayne, is an atheist. I saw some people on the internet, not anybody I regularly talk to, but I saw people on the internet talking about how they were shocked. My gosh, revealing, this giant revealing thing that Batman is doesn't believe in God. I guess I never assumed he did, just because of how his life has gone and whatnot. I mean, I think he's a man of faith at times, but not necessarily in God or a higher power, if that makes some sort of sense. But at any rate, so that reveal was nothing to me, but really, really liking this story. Him dealing with the after effects of the wedding, no wedding, has been really good. I'm really, really, really enjoying this. The Lee Weeks art, of course, makes it just super solid too. So yeah, I'm excited to see what the next issue brings for that book, which is crazy. But really, really digging Tom King's Batman now a lot. Evolution issue number 9. This thing continues to get crazy. I have no idea where it's going to go. We're starting to get answers. We really still don't know what this thing is. This evolution that's happening to people. Is it really some living entity? We still have multiple groups going on, so I don't know that we have a solid confirmation as to what this really is. Is it just the next evolution? This is some sort of virus or thing that humans are the host for. So we're kind of almost like that spore that gets on the ants and makes the ants walk up to the highest point they can, and then their heads swell and explode and shoot more spores that land on more ants and make those ants crawl up. I don't know if this is the human equivalent of that, or if it's something that was actually created. It looks like in some places the exposure was deliberate, but continue to be what is the origin, the ex-CDC scientist that's kind of the first person that's really kind of put this out there. He's left a giant trail of dead bodies for the authorities to hopefully get to and start making some choices. But he is still working on how to arrest it, how to stop it. There's no reversing it, but how could he stop it? So all interesting stuff. Final issue of Batwoman. It was actually pretty enjoyable. I kind of like the whole they used the Clock King in a very good way in this, into kind of he's supposedly selling a drug that will lets you see future time, kind of a thing. And so Marguerite Bennett can use that, and Blanchot on art, they can use that storytelling device to kind of show the different lives that Kate King could have had or should have had or might have had, kind of a thing. And then where she's choosing to go with her own life, and leaves it very open-ended. I mean, it says the ending, but there can be no ending, sort of a stuff. So I'm kind of hoping that at some point we see another Batwoman book again. I really think that Marguerite Bennett was really starting to, hit her groove with the character, to be telling good stories and whatnot. I mean, I feel like she was saddled at the beginning to try and work out what DC told her she kind of had to do with Tying the Fourth. And then I feel like she was kind of doing her own thing, reestablished the relationship with Renee Montoya, which is great. I mean, that's a great relationship to have. I mean, that's where we first originally saw Kate King, even before she was Batwoman, was being Renee's ex-lover. I still really liked the Maggie Sawyer stuff too from the New 52 Batwoman run. So I wouldn't have been upset to have had that be a thing also. But anyway, yeah, Gideon Falls. So in this issue, I really feel like Andre Sorrentino hit his groove on the panel work in this issue. We have dived into the Black Barn. The priest has stepped into the Black Barn, chasing after a policewoman who lost her brother many years ago. Craziness ensues while they're in there. Meanwhile, Norton and his therapist are in an abandoned lot where Norton was found as a child, and they have found like pieces of the Black Barn, and he feels like he has to reconstruct the Black Barn, bring all the bits and pieces he's been collecting over the years to this vacant lot in this very gentrified part of town and rebuild the Black Barn. So all really intriguing stuff, but the panel work on, I mean, I really love the art. I mean, here, just these really tight pages give you a very tight, panels give you a very tight feeling to the story at this point, as he's discovering the barn. Here's the barn where it's going to be at, and that's when it opens up, that he thinks he can do that. Meanwhile, the father's gone into the Black Barn, and you get him being exposed to the Black Barn. I love this panel of eyeballs and people and hands and parts as his mind is kind of shattered going into this, whatever it is, whatever the space he's into. This panel work across here is absolutely brilliant as he walks through deeper into the barn and is exposed to bottles of booze and severed heads and just stuff like that. So I really it just gets surreal. It gets very surreal, and the art really works the surreal. This flat page, the repeated panels of stuff, and then an actual page of comics down here. He's jumping from this separated panel from this page that was this page, right, and is leaping out through that into this. I just was really, really good stuff. Really gave you this great feeling of being unhinged with him, which is one of the things that makes the comic very successful. And as time gets kind of weird in places, this whole shooting scene that's going on as this bullets flying along, these really super skinny panels like that just really play the pacing and make time operate differently, which is what you want for this kind of a book with the stuff that's going on in it. So just, warped figures and stuff like that. And you get some Jesus Christ stuff going on with the father in there and whatnot, which is really quite intriguing. And then after it's all said and done, you're just not sure exactly what happened and whatnot. But by the end of it, we get this last scene And the one part that does confuse me on this, so Norton throws his mask off. We don't get to see his face yet. I'm looking forward to seeing if we actually see his face. But at the very end of it, it shows down here this big city, and it says Gideon Falls. And it says population 4,600,000. Welcome to Gideon Falls. And weird, because Gideon Falls was this kind of, I don't know, to me it seemed like it was a rural community place with, you know, silos and big grain fields and forests and stuff like that. So I'm really confused in that part. So if somebody is watching this or watches this later and is a been reading this, because see, I mean, this is Gideon Falls. See, I mean, it's very, you know, it's very rural, right? I mean, it's a very rural kind of a, you know, sticks and woods kind of a place. So I don't understand when we get to the end of it. I don't understand how suddenly they're in Gideon Falls. So is the Norton thing like in the future? And this is, you know, after that, this whole area that was open fields and stuff gets, so they're not running at the same time? I don't know. So I have to talk to somebody about it at some point. And then I'm curious because the new cover, because all the covers are faces, right? You're looking down on a topographical scene. I mean, here's some buildings and whatnot. And I'm assuming these are like islands that make the teeth. But I noticed that the next arc, because this is the end of the arc, there's the cover. I don't see a face anywhere in that. And me and my kids looked at this for quite a while and couldn't see a face. So they dropped that motif. I'm not sure, but cool. Really liked it. So it was a good week of comics when I finally got around to reading them, which was kind of hard to do. And I read a lot of them when I was tired, so hopefully I didn't miss anything too important in them. Anyway, take a drink here. This week's books. I got 14 books, which I will start reading as soon as this is done, probably, so I can be on top of it for Comic Roundtable next week. Anyway, Raven, Daughter of Darkness, issue number 7. So we've got this should be a new Night Force Rising. So this is a new created Night Force. The story kind of ended in a way with the last issue. So, I mean, this is a maxi series. It's 12 issues. And I'm sure that what happened in the first 6 clearly lays weight to the next issues because it was kind of the setup to get the Night Force stuff, which is a Marv Wolfman creation way back in the day. So excited for that to see what this new version's like of that. But I think this is kind of new story. It's not just, you know, Trigon's daughters and that whole kind of thing, which has been happening in the first 6 issues. So I've been enjoying this quite a bit. So I'm looking forward to seeing what this is. I mean, like, I think that this is Clarion. I think that's Clarion the Witch Boy. I think that's Tracy 13, possibly. I think that is Zantana's brother, Zatara. No, it's not Zatara. What is it? I'm not 100% sure. And that's not Trigon back there, but I don't know. I'm not sure who that is. Is it Devil Boy? Because there's like a character that's called something like that, right? So be curious to see what that is. I like the Magic DC universe, so it'll be fun to venture through that part of it. Anyway, so the final issue of Royal City. We'll see exactly how this all plays out. Does Richie do something dramatic or not? And how does this all end? I don't know. I have enjoyed this quite a bit. The endings up to this last issue felt really simplified smiley face. So I don't know. We'll see how this issue. I guess I'm kind of a cynic when it comes to relationships and when damage is done. How much can you actually fix it? So I'm curious to see. Last issue made it feel like everything was just a little too copacetic. So I'm curious to see if it continues to lay that groundwork in this issue, or if there's some unsettlement. I just can't. I don't know. Most people don't see how it can be perfect or whatever. But so. See, Sleepy's on. He's saying they totally missed that there was still a Raven comic. Yeah, it's still out there. I don't know anybody else who's really reading it. Like I said, it's supposed to be Night Force stuff. So we'll see how that plays out. I know you've read Night Force stuff. So, Shadow Man, issue number 6. Dead and Gone. This is part 3. I think we're actually going clear back to the Neolithic times with Shadow Man. So we're really going way back to the original origins of the original Shadow Man potentially here. So I'm really curious to see where this story goes with this. I have been enjoying these pasts and whatnot. I'm still ordering the comic, but I'm really suspicious when we get back to current setting again, how much I'm going to enjoy that. Because basically what this is right now is our current guy who is cursed with the Shadow Man. His soul has kind of been separated and it's floating through limbo, and it kind of keeps slipping backwards farther and farther into these prior Shadow Man. Why, I don't know, but then the story largely just becomes like, you know, that version of that Shadow Man doing his thing. And then he kind of slips further back. So I don't know if this is basically, this is his metaphorical pep talk to get him to actually being the hero Shadow Man instead of the whiny Shadow Man. I don't know. I'm hoping that's the case. Because if we go back to the whiny, try to avoid it at all costs Shadow Man, I will probably end up dropping this again because I don't care for that. But I've really been liking these stories told, and there have been single issues, stories told in times past have been curious and fun. Issue number 1 of the West Coast Avengers. Oh yeah. So I'm excited for this because I really like Kelly Thompson. I really liked her Hawkeye run. And this version has both Hawkeye and Hawkeye in it. So I'm excited for that. I like her voice with them. Got another one of my favorite characters, though I did not like the American Chavez, the last America book. I really like this character a lot. So I'm looking forward to more with her in it. I loved the West Coast Avengers when they came out back in the 80s a lot. That was a lot of fun then. It was the Avengers book that I read for quite some time. Really like then. I'm not totally keen on some of the other characters that are in this. Gwenpool is nothing but a joke as far as I'm concerned. So I'll be curious to see how my consumption of that goes. I'm not really familiar with the other characters in it, but like I said, if they keep up the same sort of style of character with Kate Bishop and Clint, I will continue to really like the book as far as that goes. So before diving into that Marvel book, one of the few Marvel books. Oh, Days of Hate is back. This is chapter 7 of 12. Another comic book. You know, I just was talking about a comic book earlier. So this one is hardcore. It's hardcore, depressing, hardcore, dealing with a slice of what America could look like under the current administration and just the general attitude that way some of the people in power seem to be moving. It's extremely heavy. The last issue, though, I will tell you what the last issue had to do with one of our terrorists in this and her relationship with her supposed ex-wife. I'm not sure. I mean, legally they're ex-wife, but I think they're still actually a couple. It was largely a story about their relationship and what it felt like for them to fall in love. And I know that sounds cheesy and whatnot, but it really wasn't. It was extremely well written. It's an extremely good story in and of itself. Just the feelings that one possibly have running into somebody that just suddenly changes your life and your view on things and whatnot. It was just incredibly well written, pulled out of this whole setting of the Days of Hate stuff. It was just extremely good, extremely well written. Just, yeah, can't say enough about that issue. But I'm looking forward to this being back. I've enjoyed this all the way along. It's an extremely dark book. It tends to be the last book I read in the pile, not because I dislike it the least. It just, when I read it, it is really good. And lots of times it's really a bummer. So the bad guys in this thing are just next level diabolical. The head of Homeland Security, just diabolical. And I don't know. There's aspects of them that just seem really weird, contrast to them being diabolical, which I get because nobody is probably just one thing. But man, it's really strange. So going to that to a fluff book, Barbarella issue number 9. A regular artist is back on the book, so I'm looking forward to that. I just been enjoying the book. It's just kind of a goofy romp around Barbarella-esque kind of a thing. It's nothing heavy. I mean, it occasionally hits a few winks and nods at social commentary. It's not all TNA, but of course it hinges around that to some degree because Barbarella is a free spirit when it comes to that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's been fun. Nothing rocking my socks off. At some point, I'm going to reach another threshold again of I can't read all the comics I'm getting. So the one may disappear at some point because of that. So, I'm so excited about this. Beast of Burden, issue number 1. This is the Wise Dogs and Eldridge Men, issue number 1. And I'm excited for this because Beast of Burden is an excellent book. If you've never read Beast of Burden, go out and get this one. I haven't read it yet, but I know you're going to enjoy it. Evan Dorkin writes it. Typically, Thompson does the artwork on it. She normally does the artwork. In this case, though, it's Benjamin Dewey, who is an excellent, excellent artist. So I'm super stoked for that. He likes animals and likes drawing animals. So I just, going to make this thing great. It's basically a group of animals, mostly dogs. There is the occasional cat or other animal in there, but it's mostly dogs, and they live in Burden, or in the Burden area. That's why it's called Beasts of Burden, even though there's a play on words with that, right? And they are like the equivalent of Call of Cthulhu investigators. If you've ever read the H.P. Lovecraft, the standard affair kind of thing where you have your investigating things man was not meant to know, sort of a deal. That's what these dogs are doing. The humans they exist, but they're kind of the dumb meat things that just follow along. And it's the dogs that figured it out. And there's stories that are written in some of these that are the equivalent of like The Sixth Sense and that sort of thing. But just really, really good, really intriguing. They do all connect together. You can read them all as one big long series. And then, you get to know the characters better as you go along. But any one of these minis or even single issues, if it's a single issue story, because some of them have been single issue stories, you can pick these all up. At least up to this point, you've been able to pick them up and read them without having to have had the other stuff, and you still get something out of the adventure. You just get more out of the adventure if you've been reading all the stuff. I originally bought it thinking that, hey, it's a book with cute dogs and animals in it. I will buy it for my then probably 5 or 6 year old daughter, and no, no, it's a horror story. It's got cute animals in it, but it's definitely a horror story. Not something that she would read them now and love them, but not when she was 10 years younger. That would not have been, the kind of thing, whatever. At any rate, Mother Panic is issue number 6. Sergeant America was on a little while ago saying that he was upset with the Mother Panic ending. It was super rushed, and that's my concern. Interesting world that the Mother Panic has been tossed into this kind of fractured, different version of Gotham 10 years in the future, after it's been totally gentrified and all of the heroes and villains are basically largely gone. But yeah, this is, like I've been talking about all of these, just feels like it's been rushed up and whatnot. So, second issue of Justice League Dark. I enjoyed issue number 1. Largely because I really like the Magic characters of the DC universe. Here it looks like we get Dr. Fate thrown in here now too, along with Wonder Woman, Swamp Thing, and Zatanna, and the Detective Chimp, Man-Bat. I'm all excited for that because I love Dr. Fate. Big fan of Dr. Fate. I can read a Dr. Fate comic any day. So, so I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing what it is. It may not be a deep story, but I enjoyed the first issue because, like I said, I love those characters. So, let's see. Batman Detective Comics. Anybody who's been listening to me talk about these Hill written books, no, I'm not particularly impressed. I feel like we're rehashing a lot of story. Batman finds a mentor instead of being Batwoman. Now it's Black Lightning. Black Lightning is now in charge of shuttling the kids around and taking care of the kids. Barbara Gordon is one of the kids, and the characterization of her, she doesn't come across as a kid, but I just can't imagine that anybody treats Barbara Gordon as a kid. She's the more adult of the Batman family. So I don't know what this one is going to have in it. I do know that all of this basically is leading to the fact there is going to be a Batman and the Outsiders comic book written by Hill. I don't think I'm going to pick it up. Normally I would. I am a Batman and the Outsiders fan. Anytime the book comes out, I generally pick it up. This version of the Batman and the Outsiders is going to have Orphan, the Signal, Black Lightning, Katana. So it's, except for Black Lightning, it's all like street level-ish sort of people. Katana questionably isn't street level, but I was hoping that if we're gonna do a Outsiders book, we'd have Geoforce in it. You know, we'd have Halo, we have Metamorpho. Get Metamorpho in a good book as opposed to the Terrifics. You know, closer to the original crew on you know, a different kind of Justice League, basically. Because that's kind of as the Outsiders always were. They were like Batman's other Justice League when he really couldn't get along with the Justice League kind of a thing. At least felt to me like, anyway. Whereas this is going to just be a large group of street level, you know, people. And I just don't think I'm going to get it because I have not been really excited by this run of Detective Comics. So another new book, Cold Spots. This is a Cullen Bunn book. As everybody else has said, great cover there. This kind of sunset. Now, is it a sunset or is it an explosion? Because see, to me, it almost looks, I mean, this kind of arrowhead looking thing, it almost looks like an explosion of sort. Not fully mushroom cloud, but that sort of a deal. So we'll see. I know it's a horror book. I don't know anything else about it. But I plan on checking it out. Been digging a lot of Cullen Bunn's horror stuff, so beyond that. So issue, what is this, 2? Right? Yeah, issue 2 of Britannia, The Lost Eagles of Rome, where our first detective is now been charged with going and finding some of the eagles, some of the legions that have been lost, the barbarians up in what is now Germany, I believe, have stolen them, and they need to find them because if they aren't found, when the eagles fall, so does Rome, sort of a deal. So Caesar is freaking and wants it taken care of. And but all of the work so far that the first detective has done has been in Rome, and Caesar's like, no, I want you to go to Germany and get these things back, not mess around in Rome. But there's some suspicious stuff going on, like maybe the eagles aren't in Germany, but who knows? Been enjoying it. First issue was decent. Next up, we have Black Hammer, Age of Doom. Of course, this book is super awesome. Dean Ostrom's art is brilliant, as always. Issue number 4. We'll see where we go here because the stuff's starting to get crazy now. They know there's some shenanigans are going on. The people who are stuck in, stuck at the farm know there's shenanigans happening. They just don't know to what extent. So I look forward to seeing how that all gets played out and whatnot. The sheriff's back and he's all weird and fine with their relationship. So clearly, Madame Dragonfly has been messing with some stuff, and we, even the readers, don't know exactly what that is. So I look forward to checking out, seeing what that is, how that goes on there. And finally, we have Wasted Space, issue number 4, right? Yep, issue number 4. I continue to dig this book. I love the waxing philosophy that happens in it. I love the it's got some Philip K. Dickness to it. The kind of how do we address religion from here, and society and some of that stuff. And I'm just really enjoying it. I really dig the art. Of course, the cover is Margaret Suave does the cover, doesn't do the art on the inside, but I do dig Sherman's art in it. And these kind of independent books, I really like. Morrissey, is that how you say his name? I've met him and talked to him a few times. But his corporate books I've not necessarily been really excited about, but I do like his independent stuff where he can kind of just travel where he wants to, because I like it when he waxes philosophy in the books and stuff. So yeah. So that's it for the books that I'll be reading and talking about next week. Hey, Stay Puff, how's it going? It has been a while. But yeah, that's it. Like I said, I'm gonna get off here. I'm gonna go read some books, and hopefully I'll be back for Comic Book Roundtable this next Saturday. That's the plan. Even if I'm here by myself, that's the plan, I think. And because this week shouldn't be as long, I hope. And I'll be back sometime between there with next week's comics, I'm sure. Anyway, have a great one, everybody. Take it easy.